Hello everyone, and in today's video I'm looking at a scenario where Peru forms an empire. Now, Peru here is obviously going to be buffed, and NATO, the EU, the UN, all those major world organisations or alliances no longer exist, so Peru has a better chance of expanding. So let's look at this video. Now, first thing they will do is declare war on Ecuador, not rhymes. No, Ecuador has most of their stuff like along the population. That doesn't make sense. Along the coast, and up here it's mainly just mountain. Well, not mountains. It's the Amazon. So it is the wrong colour. Peru sends forces in trying to get to the capital, which is about here, I think. And I mean, Ecuador isn't strong, and especially against Peru, who has been buffed. So Ecuador just quickly surrenders, and in this treaty we see full annexation by Peru. Now Peru, of course, has been buffed, so they have a better chance of expanding. So that means they're going to be able to pick on these little countries easier. I don't know. So Peru has expanded. South America is not happy with Peru, but they're not put on the alert just yet until they declare war on Bolivia. Now, Peru and Bolivia were once under a union, but Chile broke it up. So yeah, but after Bolivia doesn't want to join up with Peru to form the new union, see Peru invading that. I also know nothing about Bolivia. I don't even know where their capital is. I know it's like Amazon up here, but other than that, know nothing about Bolivia. So Peruvian troops moving. It's at this point we see Brazil starting to aid Bolivia, as they don't like the new strong foe on their border. So Bolivia will be able to push back, eventually meeting up with the border, but that help isn't much, as Peru is able to take all this land, and I'm guessing their capital's here. I'm saying their capital's there, and they take the capital that might be there. Eventually, Bolivia is split in two and surrenders. So Peru, instead of annexing all of Bolivia, will leave half of it and turn it into a puppet state to kind of be like a buffer state between them and Argentina, and I guess these guys in general. But you know who isn't liking the new Peruvian empire? Chile. So Chile declares war on Peru now. Chile, they of course broke up the Peru-Bolivian Union in real life, and they're trying to break up the Chilean empire over here, the Chilean empire, the Peruvian empire. So Chilean troops move into Peru, will also move into the puppet state with the help from the locals who don't want to be a part, who don't want to be a puppet state. And it looks like Chile is doing pretty well, and that's until the Peruvian army over here will crash down on Chile. Chile, although not being weak, is just overwhelmed, and even the puppet state pushes them back. Troops from Peru and the puppet state will move into Chile, and Chile doesn't like this. Their fronts are connected up, and I don't know if Chile's capital is. I think it's like right here. I'm gonna say their capital's there, but so Peru will try and get to it, but there's a problem. Chilean mountain guerrilla warfare. Chile is very mountainous, and they're doing guerrilla warfare, so they're able to push back on the border of Argentina. Well, on the coast, Chile is not having a fun time as they push down the coast, and eventually guerrilla warfare will dive down, as I don't know. And Chile has lost a lot of land, all but half of its country, and with Argentina joining this war to try and claim as much Chilean land as possible before Peru can take it. We see Chile be split in two and surrender. We can look at this treaty. In this treaty, Chile is destroyed and reduced to their southern land, and Argentina takes a big bite out of Chile. Peru doesn't take much, but they give a lot of land to their puppet state, trying to make the people more happy. And Peru will like give Peru will invade this country and give it to their puppet state, making the people very happy because they're expanding. But at this point, see a lot of countries see Peru as too vicious and too imperialist. So we see Colombia declare war on Peru. Now all of Chile's troops are down south, and Chile didn't expect this, so Colombian troops move quickly into Chile, taking this, what I think is the capital city of Ecuador, and all this land over here. Now, of course, Chile weren't expecting this. Colombia even sends some special troops into the Amazon while trying to distract Chile. These special troops don't go far though, I don't know why they just don't. Anyways, Colombian troops will move down, trying to get as much land before the Chilean army can arrive, which is making its way up the Chilean coast. Look, they're about here, and because Colombia's troops is all the way over here. So good luck, Chile. All these, why do I keep saying Chile? Peru. All these islands are taken. They will snake down the coast, taking more of Peru's coast. I was at Chile, and Peru isn't doing well. But at this point, we see some small divisions arrive on the front line, and they will start pushing back the Colombian army. And Colombia's army isn't here fully. You might be asking why. That's because Venezuela joins war, and Colombia actually anticipated this happening. So they had a lot of their army stationed on the border, and these guys were moving, or Venezuela weren't expecting to be beaten back this fast. And as they lose all this land over here. And what's worse, see Guyana join this war against Peru and Venezuela, and they start their own invasion, but Venezuela did expect Guyana to get involved, so they had troops on their front line, and they were able to push back Guyana all the way to their border. And yeah, but over here for Venezuela, it's still not doing so well, as a lot of the coast is taken, and I think Venezuela's capital is here. I'm gonna say it is, and that capital is encircled. But to Guyana, they're not doing well. Venezuelan troops will move out, taking all this land. Eventually, Guyana will accept its fate and surrender. And this is huge. So now Venezuelan troops can move to this front line. But back to Peru. We see Peru's troops fully arrived, and they're able to push the Colombians a lot, almost fully out of their territory. But over here in these special areas, the special forces are able to hold their ground. But Colombia's main army is almost fully pushed out of their country. But a smart Colombian general will be able to push into Peru, define Peru's armies. I don't know how they do it, they just do. And they're able to take all this land in a couple of weeks. But eventually this will go to stalemate, and the focus on the war will be on Venezuela. Peru, after Brazil letting them fly supplies to Venezuela in order for Brazil to have a 30% off deal with all the things they trade with Peru. Peruvian supplies will land in Venezuela, and with this they're able to connect up with this encirclement and push the Colombians a lot back, almost fully out of their country, but Colombia is able to hold out. Colombia is getting some American aid, but not much, not as much as they probably would be getting in real life. But Colombia is able to hold out. But down south, there's an army that's able to cut past the Colombian defences, and able to take all this land here. Eventually, Colombia's main army will be pushed out of their territory. And Peru starts a little invasion into Colombia now. These special forces over here link up with each other and are told to go crazy. Peru has started to send some of its own special forces over here. Eventually, these special forces are fully kicked out of their country, and Peru will send its special forces into Colombia in the Amazon. So, yeah. Also, these islands are captured. I don't know why I wouldn't paint it, but Colombia is not doing so well. What makes this whole thing worse is the Colombians getting fully pushed out of Venezuelan territory, and the Venezuelans invading Colombia, taking their capital, which is somewhere up here, I think. I'm guessing it is. I don't know much about South America, but after Venezuela takes all this land, Colombia will surrender. Now, Colombia has just lost this pretty big war, and they will not be let off the hook so easily, but let's look at this treaty. In this treaty, we see a lot happen. Peru takes a lot of land, Venezuela does. Brazil actually gets some land, like saying thank you. But Peru and Venezuela, like saying their thank yous for letting them use Brazilian airspace to help Venezuela. Colombia is now a puppet state of Peru, and don't ask what happened to these islands. But yeah, that'll do it for today's episode. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and bye everyone.